The dangers of forests are often told to children through fairy tales such as stories like Wild Man, Hansel and Gretel, and Little Red Riding Hood in order to discourage them from going into the woods. And it's only right because the woods can contain things much darker that are hidden from plain sight. I'm your host Andrew, and today is all about the top 10 haunted forests you wouldn't want to get lost in. Let's get right into this list. Coming in at our number 10 spot, we have the Daring Woods. Located in the heart of Pluckley, Kent, lies a dense woodland with a very tragic past. The Daring Woods, also known as the Screaming Woods, has garnered worldwide attention due to many reports of screams that just seem to echo throughout the forest at night. The origins of the screams and other paranormal activity in the forest still remain a complete mystery to all the locals, but some say it's the spirits of a massacre that occurred in these woods on November 1st, 1948. This is when 20 people were found dead, 11 whom were children. They presented no wounds, and after an investigation was done, they stated the cause being carbon monoxide poisoning. Others speculate that it could be the spirit of Robert Dubois, who was a notorious highwayman who killed in these woods in the 18th century. Witnesses have reported seeing a figure in a long black coat and boots, which they believe to be the ghost of Dubois, and some have even claimed that they see him screaming at them when they have encounters, which would explain the Screaming Woods name. And it doesn't stop there, because in 1964, private investigator Robert Collins conducted interviews and discovered an unknown religious cult operating in these woods. But before he can complete any of his findings, he tragically passed away from a car accident. Ever since, the reputation of the Screaming Woods has gone beyond the borders of Britain and has been featured in many shows like Ghost Hunters International and even Top Gear. Visitors from all over the world have been drawn to this forest in just the hope of experiencing a paranormal encounter, and if you do dare to visit, maybe you'll get a chance to hear those lovely screams echoing throughout. Number 9, we have the Pine Barrens. Spanning over 1.1 million acres, the Pine Barrens in New Jersey are a rural and scenic stretch of land that is also known to have an abundance of ghosts and all sorts of supernatural creatures. The most famous paranormal Pine Barrens resident is the Jersey Devil, and I've talked about this guy in the past, but for those who don't know, he is a demonic creature said to have wings, hooves, a horse-like head, claws, a forked tail, and a terrifying scream. Local legend says that the Jersey Devil was the 13th child of Deborah Leeds, which is a lady born in 1735. When she gave birth, many believed her to be cursed and thought her child was the literal spawn of Satan. Reports of the Jersey Devil sightings date back all the way to 1820, and the creature was blamed for livestock killings in the 1840s and again in the 1920s. The most famous incident of panic over the Jersey Devil occurred in 1909, with hundreds of sightings and attacks reported, leading to a widespread hysteria. But the Jersey Devil is only the start of the supernatural entities that haunt the Pine Barrens. The ghost of a small boy is also said to haunt the Atco area, roaming Burnt Mill Road, searching for his killer. As well, James Still, an African-American doctor during the time of slavery, was lynched by locals when they found out he was practicing medicine. Legend says that he now roams the Pine Barrens as a friendly ghost, assisting those who are lost or even injured in the area. Other ghosts include a blonde woman, a white stag, a black dog, and even the headless spirit of an infamous pirate, Captain Kidd. So if you ever happen to stumble in New Jersey, try your best to avoid getting lost in these woods. At our number 8 spot, we have the Epping Forest. The Epping Forest, located in England, is a 6,000 acre forest that has a dark history and has been the hideout of many dangerous criminals and murderers over the years. One of these includes Ronald Jepson, a sick pedophile and a murderer who targeted many children in this forest. Highwayman Richard Turpin has committed multiple murders in this forest as well, so best believe that hundreds of bodies were buried in the Epping Forest over the years. Those who decide to take a hike in this forest report hearing blood-curdling screams at night, footsteps, and whispers on foggy days telling them to leave immediately. But perhaps the most haunting area of Epping Forest is the suicide pool. Legend has it that a girl was killed by her father at the pool over 300 years ago after he found out she was meeting a boy in secret. Her lover later took his life at the same spot. Since then, there's been multiple people taking their own lives in this area, including that of a woman named Emma Morgan who killed her child and herself at this pond. Locals say that the pool has an evil force within its dark waters that just seems to compel people to take their own lives, and also no birds or animals have been heard near the spot, which gives it this more supernatural feeling when you come close to it. At our number 7 spot, we have the Freetown Fall River State Forest. The Freetown Fall River State Forest in Massachusetts is a part of a 200 square mile area known as the Bridgewater Triangle. This place is notorious for Bigfoot sightings, UFO UFO encounters, and even paranormal activity. The forest was once occupied by Native Americans in the 1600s who left behind some burial grounds when they were forced to leave it. And this is another reason why many people believe this is part of what makes the forest so eerie. Now, since the 1900s, there's been reports of bodies found all over these woods, including a young girl who was tied to a tree and left there for dead in 1978. The killer was eventually caught and convicted, but many people believe the forest exerts a dark influence that drives people to do bad things and even commit murder. On top of that, the forest is also believed to have been used for satanic murders in the 1970s and the 80s. But as mentioned, there has been reports of UFO sightings as well, poltergeists, and even fireballs in the sky. Even President Reagan claimed to have seen things in these woods when he decided to take a visit. He claimed to have seen strange lights in the sky that almost seemed to be following him and his group. Number 6, the Hoia Forest. The Hoia Forest in Transylvania is a place that is believed by many to be the most haunted forest in the world. For decades, locals and visitors alike have reported strange and unexplained experiences after entering this frightening forest. Located just west of the city of Cluj-Napoca, the Hoia Forest has trees that are warped, bent, twisted, and contorted into nightmarish shapes that seem to defy the laws of nature. The forest's abnormal atmosphere has earned it the nickname Romania's Bermuda Triangle. The forest name itself references its mysterious past. It was named after a local shepherd who disappeared in the forest with his flock of about 200 sheep and was never seen again. For years, strange stories about people vanishing into the Hoia Forest remained local lore, but in 1968, a Soviet military technician named Emil Barnia claimed to have taken pictures of a UFO hovering above a clearing in the forest. This claim is different than most UFO sightings because Emil Barnia has nothing to gain from reporting it, but he had everything to lose. As well, in the center of the forest, there's a mysterious near-perfect circular patch where nothing but grass grows. The clearing, as it is called, attracts all sorts of strange people to the bizarre forest, which include Romanian witches, the death-obsessed, and even the occasional group looking to open a portal to another dimension. Just a regular thing, right? Scientists have tested soil from the clearing, but there seems to be no physical difference that would keep trees from growing there. This has further fueled the rumors that the forest is haunted and full of paranormal power. People who enter the forest today regularly report really odd symptoms like headaches, anxiety, nausea, and the unshakable feeling that they're being watched the entire time they're walking there. Electronic devices have also been known to fail there as well, and some have even seen ghostly spirits lurking behind the deformed trees that I mentioned earlier. In the hump of our list, we have the Black Forest. The Black Forest is more than just a simple forest. It's an entire mountain range located in the southwest of Germany. Due to its age and vast expanse, the Black Forest has become the subject of numerous urban legends and stories, including the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. For instance, there are tales of supposed sea creatures who lure unsuspecting travelers to their watery graves, as well as stories about a large gathering of Celtic ghosts haunting a local graveyard in this place. Oh, and it doesn't stop there. There's even a story of an ancient king who lives underwater and decides to drag women into the water with him. And the Black Forest's creepy atmosphere is not only due to its myths and legends. The forest's thick and dense fir trees cast deep shadows on the ground, creating this eerie and perpetual darkness that only adds to its sense of foreboding. Those who call this area their home report themselves as the guardians of this grotto, tasked with protecting it from those who seek to exploit its natural resources or even disrupt its delicate balance. Could there be truth in the fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm stories, or is this place's mystery all just fictional? Let me know in the comments. All the way at a number 4 spot, we have the Devil's Tramping Ground. Located in the dense forest of Harper Crossroad area in Bear Creek, North Carolina, lies a camping ground known as the Devil's Tramping Ground. And I know, the name alone should tell you all about this place, because in local lore, they suggest this is the location where the devil, quote, tramps, and this has caused a small circle of area to become lifeless and never have the ability to grow anything. Locals have tried to revive the area by planting various seeds and using fertilizers, but nothing seems to be able to fully grow within this circle of land. Some historians believe that this was also an ancient meeting place for local Native American tribes, and they would come here to do ceremonial dances and all sorts of other festivals. However, in the 1930s, newspapers were hit with the news that a beast was guarding the grounds, and the story reads, quote, coon and possum hunters and their dogs have been on more than one occasion chased from the vicinity of the Devil's Tramping Ground by a ferocious beast said to resemble a black bear. Number 3, Dow Hill. Located in the northeastern region of India, between the borders of Nepal, Bhutan, and Bangladesh, lies a forest that will make you feel scared and uncomfortable the entire hike. The forest, known as Dow Hill, is considered one of the most haunted spots in India, and for good reason. Visitors to this forest have reported feeling a sense of being watched, almost as if the eyes are following their every move. Some have even claimed to catch glimpses of strange movements in their periphery, only to turn and find nothing there. However, the occurrences don't stop there. There's also been reports of a screaming woman in the woods, and several visitors have even claimed to see red eyes peeking at them from the trees. But perhaps the most famous ghost sighting in Dow Hill is that of a headless boy who has been seen wandering through the forest and down the street known as Death Road. Even the high school situated beside the woods is believed to be haunted as well. Many students claim to hear loud whispers coming from inside the lockers and footsteps during the closed months. So best believe not only the woods are haunted, but this entire area is haunted by ghosts. Number 2, the Island of the Dolls. Nestled between the serene canals of Xochimilco in Mexico lies the Island of the Dolls, a place that looks scary in pictures and even worse in person. And the obvious reason is because the island is home to hundreds of abandoned dolls, which at first glance may seem eerie, but their presence is actually the result of a sorrowful story. But back to the scary part. According to the legend, the island is haunted by the spirit of a young girl who died there in mysterious circumstances. As well, visitors to the island have reported that the dolls' heads and arms move, and also report their eyes opening and closing, leading to some believing that the girl's spirit still clings on to these dolls. However, the true story behind the dolls is far more poignant. Don Julian Santana Barrera, the island's caretaker, stumbled upon the body of a young girl near the canals one day. He then saw a doll floating in the water that he believed belonged to the girl, and in memory of her, he hung the doll from a nearby tree. And this was just the beginning. He began to hang more dolls in an attempt to appease her spirit, as well as to appease other entities he believed that were present on the island. Sadly, Barrera passed away in 2001, but his legacy lives on, as the Island of the Dolls has since become a very popular tourist attraction. Number 1, the Aokigahara Forest. The Aokigahara Forest, also known as the Sea of Trees, sits right along the edge of Mount Fuji, roughly a 2-hour drive west of Tokyo. At the entrance of the forest, you are greeted by a sign that reminds visitors that life is a precious gift from their parents. Aokigahara's dark reputation has been around for decades, and if you don't know about it, here it is. Legend has it that in the older times, when food was in short supply and the situation grew desperate, a family might take a dependent elderly relative, typically a woman, to a remote location and leave her to pass away. At first, the ghost visitors have claimed they saw in Aokigahara were presumed to be vengeful spirits of the old who had been abandoned to starvation and the mercy of the elements. But that all began to change in the 1960s. More than 100 people who were not from the area surrounding Aokigahara took their own lives there between 2013 and 2015. Countrywide, people who took their own lives there roughly total around 24,000 people in the year 2015 alone, according to the country's Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare. These numbers don't include the amount of people who attempted there also, and this is just a really sad fact. And with all these people taking their lives in these woods, it's not really hard to believe that this place is extremely haunted, so best believe to take care if you decide to visit this forest. Well, these are the top 10 haunted forests you wouldn't want to get lost in. What do you guys think about this list? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts and leave some suggestions for our future videos. I'm your host Andrew, and I hope you guys have a scary day.